Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur, and hear the music in the background? That's my neighbor. He likes to listen to very good classical, country, Broadway, Celine Dion, Josh Groban. He likes to listen to a lot of music that I like to listen to during the day, and this is actually normally why I film at night, because he's playing it most of the day. But I've been getting a lot of emails and comments this morning about Uber's new terms of service. Now, most people are aware that Uber changed their terms of service to be more transparent about driver earnings and what they're going to be making. And anyone who's been doing this for any amount of time knows that this was basically a bait and switch. But it really dawned on people for the first time what they were really making driving for Uber, and whether or not it's worth driving anymore, and what my thoughts on this all are. So I'm going to, of course, give my thoughts on it. And I warn you up front, this is not going to be a fun video, and it might be a little long. So let's just let's get that out of the way. And it might not be as comprehensive either, because I've been having some mixed feelings about the morning myself. I mean, I guess I should first address the thing on why people want me to make a video, because a lot of people thought their rates were cut. They thought Uber cut their rates again, and they didn't, because one of the things about the update that Uber was right about, they were being very transparent about what drivers were making. Now, instead of showing you a price fare and then say, oh, but minus so much for the Uber commission, now they just tell you what you made. And they tell you by mile and how much you're making by minutes. And people are shocked to find out how little they're actually making. And they're going like, hey, what do you mean I only made 54 cents a mile? I live in a 75-cent market. Well, Uber takes 25% of that, so you make 54 cents a mile. And you've been making it all this time. One of the reasons I tell you not to drive for the base fare. I did 3 surge rides this morning, totaling up to $40. I would have done more, but there was no boost in my area for the extra $40 at the end of the week, so it was not worth driving between 6 and 8. Oh, wow. There is that. Another thing. I don't know if you heard that, but someone needs to learn to drive. So it wasn't worth driving those 2 hours for rides that weren't going to count towards a bonus $40 at the end of the week, which, you know, normally if you add $20 for each of those 2 hours throughout the week, that's well, anyway, that's like $150 for 10 hours, so, you know, not bad. And it was, I had to admit, it was super, super detailed. I mean, I will put it on the screen. But as you can see, it tells you mile, distance, and this is what woke people up. They realized just how little they were really getting paid, and they thought Uber cut their rates, and they didn't. This is just what you've been making. And I hate to tell you, it's probably not going to get any better. It really is not. In fact, I consider it's possible and very likely this is going to get much, much worse, to the point I even called my dad, and I was talking to him about it. And I said, I have to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing this in a few months. Because the way Uber has set up the new terms of service, of course, everyone's getting screwed. But drivers who are the ones watching these videos, I believe, are the ones who are going to get the lion's share of the abuse. And that's because Uber has stated in black and white, plain as day, guess what? This is what you're going to get paid, and we're not going to pay you anymore. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but, you know, the wording is basically like, hey, this is what you've agreed to be paid, and we can charge the customer whatever we want. And by the way, if you take inefficient routes to try to get some of that money that we have incorrectly calculated in our fare, even though we calculated this is what it's going to cost because we're calculating you taking this route, if you take that route, you will be kicked off the platform. Take the fast route, because we want to keep that extra money for ourselves. So, yeah, Uber's aware of these tricks, and they've thought of everything. And who knows if any additional lawsuits over this matter could actually make it through now that they've made people sign the terms of service. Although there is a class action lawsuit about this that you can join. I'll link to it below. Now, what has me concerned about this and why I've titled the video the way I did is because this is written in a way where whether Uber realizes or not, I think they realize it, they're going to get a lot more aggressive about taking money from the drivers. More so than they have been before. Because, I wish I were more lively about this, but it's such a grim subject. I think surge and boost is eventually going to go away. I think it will. What they will do is they will use their algorithm, the same algorithm that they're using for the passengers to figure out what passengers are willing to pay more. They will use their algorithm to figure out which drivers are willing to drive for less. And some of these particularly desperate Uber drivers who it's their full-time job and they're driving whatever ride they can get, they will start getting more rides that are not surge. And they will not be getting boost offers. And here's the thing. The way this new TOS is written, you might actually pick up a surge ride and maybe Uber will just tell you conveniently, hey, it's a base fare ride. It's not a surge ride. Because they know that that person will accept the ride regardless and they keep the surge. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing that they've written it this way, and we have to accept it if we want to keep driving for Uber. You have to accept it. Now, and this is going to be like a bad... I don't know. I really would hope that this would be a wake-up call to a lot of people to really stop driving for Uber. Because people keep asking me. They always, periodically, someone will email me and they'll ask me, hey, why don't you create an app to compete with Uber? Why don't we organize a strike or a boycott? And I answer these emails as nicely as possible. Their intentions are good, and I know where they're coming from. But I have seen time and time again that people are not committed to strikes. Yes, if people stop driving for Uber, Uber would eventually have to, change the terms to favor us a little bit more because they'd be losing drivers like hotcakes. But Uber doesn't need to do much to get us back on the road. Offer a little boost, turn on the surge, we're back on the road. And Uber will play us. We should be playing Uber. I play Uber, but most people let Uber play them. So strikes and boycotts don't work. The only way they will get hurt is if so many drivers stop driving on a consistent basis, and that means even saying no to some surge, like, heck, like Memorial Day weekend, here's the thing, that would be like an ideal time to just strike, to not drive, to not give Uber any money, but you know what? The surge will go up, and that strike will be weakened by the end of the day. That's how it works. And so, yeah, that's why I don't do strikes. That's why I don't do boycotts. I mean, I participated in a couple, lost money that day, didn't do any long-term good because people are not committed to the long-term results. That's the millennial problem. We want change and we want it yesterday. We don't think about the long-term fights that makes the wars and the battles won. So this is going to be a dark day for Uber and Uber drivers. This is a very dark day. Now, interestingly, this isn't going to affect you right away. Most of my strategies on taking advantage of surge and boost, they're still going to be applicable. But there's probably going to be a day where Uber's going to find a way to phase it out. Maybe, I might get to a surge point and it's like, they might see that, hey, when it gets to 3 times surging, I'm willing to go out, so they'll show me 3 surging. They'll give me 3 surge, and it will be great for me. Unknowns to me, it's a 5 times surge. And they're keeping that extra surge. And I agreed to let them do it. But if there is a bright spot on this, it's that Uber was much more transparent about what people were making than I expected them to be. And people know what they're making now. And you know what? They aren't happy. Oh no, they are not happy. I anticipate, a lot of people will just quit driving for Uber. I encourage people to quit driving for Uber. I barely drive for Uber anymore. I mean, thanks to you guys, my videos have been making enough money where it has brought in some extra cash flow and I don't need to drive as often. Some people keep asking me, well, why don't you make vlogs like Jermaine Ellis? And you know what? There's two reasons why. First of all, Jermaine's got a much better personality than I do. He just does. I'm sorry. I'm a pretty good reporting aspect of it, and once in a while I'll lose my temper, but I have a hard time getting out on the road and like being a personality. I can't do that. Also, I don't drive as much because my time is a little bit more worthwhile. I could be using that time writing movie reviews or screenplays or my next novel, which I'm writing. I've written a couple novels, but this is going to be the first one that's going to be published, so I want it to be done right. And working on my e-commerce store. So I am focusing my YouTube attention with you guys on helping you make money and sharing the news. It's been more sharing the news and helping you make money. And with this change, I'm actually starting to think that any advice I give you might be a moot point anyway, because Uber's algorithm could negate any advice I could give you because they'll take whatever extra money you're making. But by being this transparent, everyone knows what they're making. I think people are going to start quitting Uber, and I encourage them to do it, and maybe Uber will have to reconsider. Now then, some people might be asking, what about Lyft? I am going to make a second video about Lyft. It's not going to be today. Maybe it's tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow is going to be a Lyft day because I have another video on Lyft I was working on. I was going to post it today. I'm glad I didn't. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about Lyft and the implications this could have for Lyft. And how, because Lyft is the silver lining in this case, believe it or not. And we're going to talk about why. In the meantime, yeah, dark day. Don't get too comfortable doing Uber because they have officially stated we are committed to screwing the drivers, and we even put it in writing. So, anyway, what do you folks think? What were your reactions when you saw how much you were actually making? Were you shocked? Was that what you were expecting? What's the next step for you? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And I know that money is definitely tight, especially now that you know what you're making. But hey, if you like these videos, consider supporting me by becoming a Patreon or buying some swag from the Great Media Universe store. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.